Rebuild yourself in silence. Machiavelli's 10 Hidden Paths to Power. There is a paradox at the heart of human ambition. Everyone wants to be powerful, yet almost everyone imagines that power must be loud, visible, and announced. We think power is about making declarations, proving ourselves and showing the world our victories. But Niccolò Machiavelli, the Renaissance master of strategy, teaches something radically different. Power is not noise. Power is not constant display. Power is the ability to move in silence, to plan in shadows, to rebuild yourself when no one is watching, and to emerge only when the time is perfect. Machiavelli lived in Florence during an age of chaos, betrayals, conspiracies, rising rulers who fell overnight, and endless wars between princes. He observed how fragile kingdoms were, how easily leaders exposed themselves to ruin by being careless with words, reckless with appearances, or blind to the value of secrecy. From these lessons, he wrote The Prince, a book that shocked the world by stripping away illusions and revealing the brutal laws of power. But the brilliance of Machiavelli is not just for kings. His words apply to anyone who seeks to master their own life. In a society where people crave attention, expose their weaknesses, and announce their every move on social media, Machiavelli's advice feels more urgent than ever. True power is quiet. It does not ask for recognition. It grows while others sleep. To rebuild yourself in silence is to reclaim control over your destiny. It is to recognize that every moment you waste explaining yourself to others, every energy you spend on noise, weakens your ability to transform. Instead, you must enter into stillness, into secrecy, into that space where your growth cannot be interrupted. In this journey, we uncover Machiavelli's 10 hidden paths to power. These are not obvious rules. They are not steps to impress people, but disciplines to shape yourself into someone who cannot be ignored once revealed. Today, we begin with the first two: the cultivation of silence and the art of invisibility. Together, they form the hidden foundation on which all other power rests. Part 1. Silence as the foundation of power. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is not weakness. Silence is the furnace where character is forged, where will is strengthened, and where strategy is sharpened. Machiavelli understood this. He wrote that a ruler must guard his words, reveal only what is necessary, and never speak without purpose. Why? Because words once spoken can never be recalled. They expose your thoughts, they give away your intentions. They arm your rivals with weapons against you. But silence creates mystery. Silence forces others to guess, to wonder, to project their own fears and doubts upon you. In silence, you gain an aura of depth, even if you are still in the process of building it. Think of a battlefield. The general who reveals his strategy too soon loses before the battle begins. But the general who waits, who remains silent while his troops prepare in hidden strength, terrifies his enemies with uncertainty. That is the power of silence. It makes you unpredictable. Machiavelli's world was filled with rulers who talked too much. They made promises they could not keep. They swore loyalty and then betrayed it. They declared war before their armies were ready. Each fell one by one because they exposed themselves through noise. Machiavelli's great lesson was this: keep your thoughts close, your plans secret, and your tongue restrained. In your life, silence is the first discipline of power. Do not explain your goals to people who cannot understand them. Do not defend your every choice to those who doubt you. Do not reveal your struggles to those who only want to watch you fail. Instead, remain silent and continue working. Your silence is not the absence of progress. It is the shield that protects your progress. To rebuild yourself in silence means to stop leaking your energy into meaningless conversations. Every time you tell someone what you will do, you create expectations that drain your strength. But when you stay quiet, you preserve the fire within, building momentum that cannot be stolen. The oak tree does not announce its growth. It pushes silently through the soil. unseen until one day it towers over the land. So too must you grow. Rebuilding in silence means allowing yourself to become strong before anyone even notices you are changing. That is Machiavelli's first hidden path. Cultivate silence, and you will already have a power most people never touch. Part 2. The Art of Invisibility. If silence is the seed, invisibility is the soil in which it takes root. To be invisible is not to vanish from the world. It is to move without detection, to work without interference, to prepare without interruption. Machiavelli saw that those who thrust themselves constantly into the spotlight invited their own ruin. Attention is a double-edged sword. It flatters, but it also exposes. It draws allies, but it also breeds envy. It makes you visible to admirers, but also to enemies. The wise know that visibility is dangerous. The moment you show your hand too soon, you give others the chance to counter you. This is why Machiavelli praised rulers who could act in shadows, who could disguise their intentions, who could move unseen until their enemies were trapped. Power grows best where no one is watching. Invisibility is not cowardice, it is strategy. A tiger does not roar before it leaps. It stalks, hidden, waiting for the perfect moment. A swordsman does not announce the strike. He waits until the opponent exposes a weakness. Invisibility allows you to act when conditions are perfect, not when others demand it. In your own life, invisibility means resisting the temptation to reveal your every step. Do not display your plans on social media. Do not tell everyone your next move. Do not hand over your secrets to those who have not earned your trust. Move quietly. Prepare secretly. Appear only when your success is undeniable. Machiavelli would remind us, enemies cannot strike what they cannot see. Rivals cannot sabotage what they do not know. Critics cannot destroy what they cannot find. Invisibility, therefore, is your armor. But invisibility is also freedom. When you do not have to perform for the crowd, you are free to experiment, to fail in private, to rise without interference. You are no longer enslaved to the opinions of others. You are building on your own terms. So the second hidden path is this: master the art of invisibility. Step out of the desperate race for recognition. Withhold your plans until the world has no choice but to recognize them. Work in the shadows, and when you finally reveal yourself, it will be too late for anyone to resist you. Part 3. Mastering patience and timing. If silence is the seed and invisibility the soil, then patience is the water that nourishes them both. Without patience, even the strongest plan collapses. Machiavelli observed that fortune, which he often personified as a woman, favors those who are bold. But he also warned that boldness without timing is ruin. To strike too early is to miss your opportunity. To act too late is to lose it forever. Power belongs to those who master the rhythm of time. Patience is not passivity. It is active waiting. It is the art of holding your strength in reserve until the perfect moment presents itself. Think of the archer. He does not release his arrow in haste. He waits, breath steady, body still, eyes locked on the target. Only when the tension is perfect, only when the angle is true, does he release. That single moment of discipline separates triumph from failure. Machiavelli saw rulers fall because they could not wait. Some revealed their ambitions before their power was secure. Others rushed into alliances without studying their partners. Still others declared war when their armies were not yet ready. They fell because they confused impatience with courage. True courage is not in rushing. It is in knowing when to hold back. In your life, rebuilding yourself in silence requires patience. Do not expect immediate recognition. Do not demand immediate results. The greatest transformations are slow. The seed buried in the ground does not sprout overnight. The stone sculptor does not create the statue with a single strike. Progress requires time, endurance, and faith in unseen growth. Machiavelli would tell you, wait until your enemies are weak, until your allies are loyal, until your foundation is strong, then strike. Life, like politics, is a battlefield. Those who move without timing waste their strength. Those who master patience become unstoppable. The third hidden path is this: discipline your impatience. Train yourself to see the long game. Let others exhaust themselves in restless action, while you conserve your energy for the decisive moment. When your strike finally comes, it will seem inevitable, as though destiny itself had chosen your victory. Part 4. Control of appearances. Machiavelli was brutally honest. People do not see the truth, they see appearances. They judge not by reality, but by what is shown to them. A ruler, he argued, need not always be virtuous, but he must appear virtuous. Why? Because perception shapes loyalty, and loyalty shapes power. This is not deception for its own sake, it is strategy. The crowd is easily swayed by symbols, gestures, and images. A leader who appears generous, even if his generosity is carefully calculated, wins hearts more effectively than one who boasts of strength but appears cruel. Machiavelli knew that appearances are not mere decoration. They are the currency of influence. Think of a mask. A mask hides the true face, but it also communicates something greater. The actor wears a mask not to lie, but to embody a role. In life, you too must wear masks, not to deceive out of weakness, but to project strength, dignity, and discipline. The mask does not mean you are false. It means you are strategic. But here lies the danger. Many confuse controlling appearances with living for appearances. To live only for appearances is to be hollow, a slave to other people's opinions. That is weakness. Machiavelli does not counsel vanity, he counsels mastery. Appearances must be crafted deliberately, like a weapon polished for battle. You wield them for advantage, not for approval. In your life, ask yourself, what do people see when they look at me? Do they see hesitation or determination? Do they see weakness or discipline? Do they see chaos or control? The truth is, they cannot see your inner struggles. They can only see the image you present. Craft that image with care. Machiavelli reminds us, even if your private thoughts are filled with doubt, your appearance must radiate confidence. Even if your plans are still forming, your posture must convey certainty. Even if you are in silence, your presence must suggest power. That is the art of appearances, not lies, but controlled projection. The fourth hidden path is this: master appearances. Do not leave the way others see you to chance. Shape it, command it, wield it like a blade. Appearances win trust, disarm suspicion, and make your enemies hesitate. Reality matters, but perception determines how reality is judged. Part 5. The power of adaptability. Life is not stable. Fortune shifts, circumstances change, allies turn into rivals, and rivals into allies. Machiavelli insisted that the wise ruler must be like water, flexible, able to flow around obstacles, able to adapt to every terrain. Rigidity is the enemy of survival. He observed that those who cling too tightly to one way of acting, one method of ruling, eventually collapse when the world shifts around them. Adaptability is not betrayal of principles, it is the recognition that principles must serve survival. What good is loyalty to a method if it leads to destruction? Machiavelli admired those who could shift with the winds, who could play the fox when cunning was needed, and the lion when strength was required. He warned that relying only on brute force made a ruler predictable, and relying only on cleverness made him fragile. The true master blends both, shifting as the situation demands. Think of the river. When it meets a rock, it does not stop. It bends, flows around, finds another path. The river is relentless not because it refuses to adapt, but because it adapts endlessly. In the end, even the hardest stone is worn down by its patience. That is adaptability. Persistence expressed through flexibility. In your life, adaptability means never locking yourself into one identity, one method, one way of thinking. The world will test you with crises. Plans will fail. People will betray you. But if you adapt, if you learn quickly, shift strategies, and find new angles, you become unbreakable. The rigid tree snaps in the storm. The flexible reed bends and survives. Machiavelli's rulers survived not by stubbornness, but by adjustment. They knew when to flatter, when to threaten, when to hide, when to reveal. They did not cling to one role. They played many, always with the same goal: survival and power. So the fifth hidden path is this: cultivate adaptability. Become a shapeshifter, a strategist who can wear different masks, fight different battles, and still remain true to your ultimate aim. Do not be fixed in one form. Be fluid, be unpredictable. Be alive to the changing winds of fortune. In flexibility lies permanence. Part 6. The calculated use of cruelty and kindness. Machiavelli shocked the world when he wrote that a ruler must not aim to be loved, but to be feared yet not hated. To modern ears, this sounds harsh, even ruthless. But Machiavelli was not glorifying cruelty. He was exposing a truth about human nature. Too much kindness invites exploitation. Too much cruelty invites rebellion. The wise leader, therefore, must master the balance. Cruelty when necessary, kindness when strategic. Think of the surgeon's knife. To cut is cruel, but to avoid the cut would mean death. Machiavelli argued that cruelty, when used swiftly and decisively, can secure stability and prevent greater suffering. On the other hand, kindness must be shown carefully, not as weakness, but as a calculated gesture to win loyalty. In your life, this means learning to discipline without hesitation. Do not be afraid to sever toxic relationships, to walk away from those who drain your energy, to deny favors that weaken your future. At the same time, extend generosity to those who prove loyal, encouragement to those who support your path, and kindness that strengthens alliances. The lesson is not to be cruel for cruelty's sake, but to understand that power requires difficult choices. Machiavelli knew that indecision is deadlier than cruelty. The ruler who refuses to act out of fear of being harsh soon loses control. But the ruler who acts with clarity, sometimes with the knife, sometimes with a gift, earns respect. The sixth hidden path is this: master the balance of cruelty and kindness. Do not seek to please everyone. Do not fear the anger of the few when it secures the loyalty of the many. And above all, act decisively. It is better to be firm and respected than weak and ignored. Part 7. The construction of power through allies and enemies. Machiavelli wrote endlessly about alliances. He observed that no prince, however strong, rules alone. Power always requires networks, friends, allies, partners who extend your reach. But he also warned, alliances are fragile. Allies can betray, friends can turn into rivals, and enemies can become useful. The true strategist knows how to use both. To cultivate allies is to expand your influence. Machiavelli advised rulers to win the loyalty of the people whenever possible, for the people's trust secures a foundation that even armies cannot destroy. Yet he also cautioned against blind trust. An ally today may shift tomorrow if fortune changes. Therefore, one must always prepare alternatives. Always ensure that no single ally holds too much power over you. Enemies too have value. Machiavelli observed that a visible enemy can unify your supporters and give purpose to your cause. A ruler without enemies risks losing vigilance. Struggle sharpens the blade of power. The presence of opposition forces you to remain disciplined, cunning, and alert. In your life, this means being deliberate in your relationships. Choose allies who strengthen you, but never rely on them so completely that you become vulnerable. Be wary of friends who demand too much and give too little, and do not fear enemies. Sometimes they are the fire that tempers your steel. Machiavelli's wisdom here is timeless. Power is not built alone. It is constructed through networks, through loyalty earned, through opposition endured. The seventh hidden path is this: treat relationships as tools of strategy. Build alliances carefully, manage them wisely, and let your enemies sharpen your focus. Power thrives not in isolation, but in the artful balance of human ties. Ending. The return to silence. We began with silence and we end with silence. Machiavelli's 10 hidden paths to power remind us that strength is not noise. It is not the endless pursuit of applause or attention. It is discipline, patience, adaptability, and strategy. It is the ability to conceal as much as you reveal, to act with precision, to move with flexibility, to balance cruelty and kindness, to build alliances while never depending entirely on them. The world we live in today is loud. Everyone is shouting to be noticed, competing for scraps of attention. But in this chaos, the one who rebuilds himself in silence becomes extraordinary. When you step back from the noise, when you cultivate patience, when you master appearances, when you adapt, when you wield cruelty and kindness with precision, when you shape your alliances and control your enemies, you are walking Machiavelli's hidden path. Rebuilding yourself in silence is not about retreating from life. It is about preparing for it. It is about becoming so strong, so disciplined, so strategic, that when you finally reveal yourself, the world cannot ignore you. They will wonder, where did this strength come from? How did this power rise unseen? And the answer will be simple. You rebuilt yourself in silence. So remember this: silence is not emptiness. Invisibility is not weakness. Patience is not passivity. Cruelty is not evil when it secures order. And kindness is not weakness when it strengthens loyalty. Power is not given, it is constructed, step by step through discipline, secrecy, and strategy. Follow Machiavelli's hidden paths. Embrace silence. Prepare in shadows. And when you finally emerge with such force that the world has no choice but to recognize the power you built where no one was looking.